I want to talk a little bit also about DISC. So I watched this really great webinar, and you're going to see this through my social media this month, through my newsletter this month, about pressure situations. And this is where I think that DISC is really, really powerful. And so each week I'm going to talk about a different DISC stuff. This week is D for my D friends. So in Canada, you're about 8% of the population. You aren't a huge, but you are small and you are mighty. And I often say our Ds are misunderstood. And I think once we understand them, we're like, oh, okay, that's where it comes from. So what frustrates a D? Ds are fast-paced. They're on that active side of the, they're on that active side of our continuum, active and reserved. So they're quick, they're fast-paced, they like to move, they want results, they want to be in charge. So what frustrates them is when they can't do that, when they're stuck in slowness. I just want to, like, can we just get this done? Can we make a decision? And checking all the boxes, that quality control, all those kind of, let's come up with the contingencies, that's going to frustrate them. Ds very much like to be in control. And so when they aren't in control, then that can frustrate them. That can be a pressure situation for them. And when they have limited room for flexibility. So a D, if you throw a roadblock in, okay, let's pivot and we'll go down here. If this road's blocked, I'm going to go down this path. They don't need to know in advance all the different paths. They just need to know that they'll adjust as they need to, as they go along. And so if you take away that ability to be flexible and you say that this is the way it needs to be, this is the absolute process and it must be followed to a T, they aren't our big rule followers necessarily, so that's going to frustrate them. When we are frustrated, we dig back into our natural behavior. And so many of us have learned to adjust. And so Ds have learned to let go and let other people lead. They have learned to take extra time, but when we are feeling under pressure, we lean into our natural response. And so that's just for our Ds, that is maybe they don't understand how they come across to others. And so when they're frustrated, they might say, okay, no, we're just going to make this decision. Maybe they jump in and want to take over. And so those are natural behaviors that they will have learned to overcome as we learn more about ourselves and how to improve our interactions with others. But when we are frustrated, we will lean more into those. So when you see those kind of behaviors from a D, understand that it's not because they want to piss you off. It's not because they don't believe that you are competent and so they are taking over. It is because maybe they feel under pressure. And so asking them the question, is everything okay? Is there anything I can do to help? Becomes helpful and important. Next up, I want to talk a little bit more about DISC, but about pressure situations and our I styles. Last week, I talked about our D styles, and so this week, it's I styles. And our I styles naturally want to deal with people. That's where they derive their energy. That's where they get excited. They want to influence people. They want to work in groups. And so where they might feel frustrated is where they've lost the ability to influence people, where they have to work on stuff by themselves. They aren't really big on daily structure, routine, and the same thing. They don't like the mundane tasks. So those are all going to frustrate them, maybe make them feel stress. Under stress, they're going to show up in a way that they're going to be so focused on people, they may ignore the tasks. Again, they are people focused and not task focused. So they're going to lean into that people side of that task versus people continuum. And they're going to overlook the tasks and the details. They may overpromise things because they want people to feel good and to feel happy and to feel supported, but they then don't follow through. And so they're going to need extra support with checking in with maybe lists. iStyles need to recognize that that is a blind spot for them, and so they can, they're going to have to hack their way through that and sort out how can I make sure that I put the systems in place so that those things don't happen. Sometimes they may come across as being disorganized, trusting, or emotional. So they really want everyone to feel good, and when they don't, they're going to internalize that, and that may show up in extra emotion. So for our D and our C styles, that's going to be challenging, even for our S styles. That outward display of emotion, that whether that's frustration, whether that is sadness, or um, just they seem off, then that is one way that their frustration might manifest itself. And so, as somebody who's working with an I style, understanding that and watching out for it, and being able to reach out to them and say, "Are you doing okay? Is there something I need to do to support you? How's it all going?" That's going to be really important to our I styles, who are really so focused on people. For S, and does this ever feel real? Because I am an S. So what frustrates or creates pressure in an S style is not feeling part of a team. And so that aloneness, not feeling like they are moving towards that common goal with help and support from others. That help and support is really important to our S's. An unstable environment. And so that constant change, right? They are on our reserved side of that continuum. And so change is not something that they love. We joke that stands for stability, right? Doesn't stand for steadiness. Well, it's the same thing. But they really need that stability, and that break in um, that instability causes them frustration and stress, as well as unclear responsibilities. If they don't know what to do, they want to deliver, they want to give you what they want, what you want, and so you need to be really clear about that. Whether you follow that up in an email, whether you're clear, asking them back, do you have any questions, and checking in with them, because that unclear will paralyze them. They won't know where to start. So when we are frustrated or under pressure, we have reactions to that. And this is all in our assessment reports, the individual assessment report that comes out. So our S styles will become overly accommodating. They, under instability, they will try and meet everybody's needs. They'll try and they'll try and be that stable force that they don't feel. And so they will be like, yeah, I can do that because I know that will create stability for the team, for the group. So oftentimes they'll say yes too easily, and they will overcommit. And then they will own it, and they will feel it, and they will suffer the stress of that. Unlike our I's, who want to please and don't always deliver on that, our S's will kill themselves to deliver. So they will go because they are that kind of mixture of people and tasks. So they will probably get it done, but we will ask too much of them, and it's really easy to go to our S's and say, "Can you do this?" Because they'll probably say yes, and we know it, and we know that they'll deliver. And so just really, if you're managing or part of a team, then being cognizant of that. They will become overly resistant to change. They don't like change to begin with, but they will push back. They will answer questions. They will challenge even more. They may not share their opinions. They may become really quiet and withdrawn. And so if you're used to hearing from your S style person, and they're not reaching out, and they're not connecting, then part of that is that they might feel under pressure. And so they tend to withdraw into themselves. As an S style, I 100% get that, and it happens, and I feel that. They'll also take things more personally, and so a comment that might not have triggered them before, they're going to be like, they're going to take that personally, and they're going to own either the emotion of it or the words of it, and they're going to think that people are saying that about them, even if it was just maybe a general innocuous comment. And so next week we're going to do C styles, but those for my S styles, I hope that those those ring true. If you are hanging out with S styles and working with S styles, then that may help you kind of get over that hump with them. I want to talk now a little bit about how our C styles deal with pressure situations and what frustrates them. This has been a month-long series, we'll call it, where I've been talking each week in social media, in my newsletter, and on my Facebook Live about how each of the styles, what frustrates them and how they deal under pressure. So we are ending with our C styles. Our C styles like information, and they like clarity. They like written over verbal information. So what frustrates them is that lack of information. when guidelines are unclear, when they don't know what to expect, when they don't know what somebody wants or what the outcome needs to be, the output needs to be, when there's non-systematic ways of working, when they are trying to kind of make it all up and figure it out on their own, that is what really frustrates them and makes them feel like they are under pressure. And so how do they then show up when they are feeling frustrated, when they are feeling under pressure? They'll overanalyze. They'll dig in deep and they'll look for all the mistakes. And so they will come off as really, really critical. And so they will seem like they are nitpicking. That is their way of dealing with the pressure and the situation. Sometimes they will withdraw and they won't become comfortable sharing emotions, sharing their feelings, sharing their thoughts. And so you're going to have to really kind of pull it out of them. You are going to have to, if you're in a meeting, give them time and space and check in with them, because you won't naturally just hear from them. They're going to maybe be paralyzed by indecision and not be able to take action. They're going to say, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do next, and so I can't move forward. And so really helping them understand the steps, giving them the next step. What's the next step that you can take if you are leading them or supporting them without giving them the answer? What is the next step that you can take? Okay, so how might that work? What support do you need? And they may become like what we call a hall monitor, rule follower. And so here's the rule, this is the way we need to do it, and their ability to adapt and be flexible becomes challenged. And so if for our I styles and our D styles who just want to do it and do it however, it doesn't really matter to them, our C styles are going to be a challenge, and they're going to seem like they might frustrate us, um, frustrate our D's and our I's because they seem so unwielding. And so this is the course, and we're going to stay on that path. We aren't going to veer off that path, and that can be a challenge for some of our other styles. So when you see those kind of behaviors, then understand that they're feeling under pressure and probably need support. And you can check in with them and say, "Hey, is everything okay?" That ends our series on pressure situations and what frustrates each of our styles. So